I dialed 911. I told the operator what I had just seen and described to her where I was. I told her about the man in the van who ran the red light and the little white Mazda with the woman inside who had been hit. She said her name was Noelle and told me she was sending an ambulance and that the police would be there shortly. She asked me if I was sure that the car was a white Mazda with a young woman inside. I was. Within seconds, I could hear sirens, and soon I could see an ambulance come racing down the street, followed by 2 police cruisers. I watched 2 paramedics get out of the ambulance, a man and a woman, and run towards the cars to help the victims. I could see that the man in the van was unconscious, and he had a wound on his head that was bleeding. The male paramedic had pulled the young woman from the driver's seat of the Mazda and was putting her onto a stretcher. Another ambulance had arrived, and they proceeded to put the woman into the ambulance, and it sped away. I hoped she would be okay. I could see the policemen looking at me with suspicion. I knew they were going to question me. I was the only witness. I explained to them what had happened, and I assured them that the driver of the van was at fault. The police officers were watching me very closely, and I started to feel very, very nervous. I was breathing heavily and was starting to feel dizzy again. One of the officers asked me if I was okay. I could feel myself getting weaker and weaker, and I couldn't catch my breath. I felt as though the ground suddenly flew up against me, and then everything went black. I woke up in the hospital. There was an IV in my hand and an oxygen mask over my mouth. I could see my parents through the door in the hall, talking to the officers from the scene of the accident. I turned my head and saw my brother. He looked exhausted. He told me I passed out after I gave my statement to the officers and they took me here. He said that the oxycodone put my respiratory system into stress, and so I couldn't breathe properly, which explained my shortness of breath and my dizziness. I took off my mask and asked him if the woman from the accident was okay. He didn't know. He looked at me and told me I desperately needed help. He begged me to get help and to go to rehab. I reluctantly agreed. I'm still at rehab right now, and I feel like a new person. If I hadn't witnessed that accident and called 911, I probably wouldn't be alive today. I wasted so much time being angry at myself for getting hurt, but there was nothing I could have done to prevent it. Everything happens for a reason, and if I hadn't been at that intersection 2 months ago, who knows? Maybe that woman in the Mazda would have died. Maybe I never would have listened to my brother and to my parents and gotten help, but I'm glad I did. I don't think about getting high anymore. It's amazing to actually feel again. Feel pain, feel sadness, feel happiness, feel love. Oxy had taken that away from me, but now I embrace it. I'm ready to start over fresh and new. One moment changed my life forever, and I know everything will be okay. I have a second chance, and I'm ready to make the most of it. My name is Candace Hill, and my journey starts now.
I got a call. Now, someone had witnessed an accident, and that's not extreme, that's nothing new in my line of work. So I said, can you describe the scene? I asked, can you describe the location, the cars, how many victims there are, if you can tell, license plates, anything. And they did. A white Mazda and a black sedan. Now, you know that gut feeling that they say people get? I had that. The witness said they needed an ambulance. I remember the victim screaming it so loud. I called for an ambulance to the location. I knew it was Naomi. I could just feel it.
Site. As I reached the scene, I saw 2 women were injured in the car crash and were hurt very badly. I got down with my team and went to help the women. The women survived, and I finally got the job I wanted as the head paramedic.